Hi students, how are you? Hope you're all fine. And this is Sridevi, your social teacher, KGBV Pendlimari, YSR Kadapa district. Children, today we are going to discuss about 14th chapter, that is the world between wars 1900 to 1950 part 2. In this chapter, we will learn the main concepts of Russian Socialist Revolution, rise of Stalin, the Great Depression, rise of Nazism in Germany, women under Nazis, and the defeat and the end. Let us see the mind map of this chapter. Children, see this mind map. Before going to the lesson, we have to recapitulation of 13th lesson, that is the world between wars 1900 to 1950 part 1. Okay. In 20th century, industrial capitalism has changed the way people earned their livelihood. The world was divided into the West, which was experiencing economic growth, and the rest, whose acute backwardness was worsened by colonial exploitation. This was also an age of great experimentation. The same period saw Great Depression causing massive unemployment and economic breakdown. Developed industrial countries were divided into rival blocs, each vying for world domination to control colonies and markets. The First World War broke out in 1914. It ended in 1918 with the defeat of Germany and its allies. World War I had claimed 10 million men in battle. League of Nations was formed in 1919 to ensure peace and to prevent future wars. The conditions of peace treaty, the Treaty of Versailles, that followed World War I only created the seeds of another and more deadly war. In Russia, a revolution took place in 1917 which resulted in establishment of a communist state. It became the Union of Soviet Socialist Republic in 1924. Second World War was fought between 1939 to 1945 between the Axis, Germany, Italy, Japan, and the Allies Britain, USA, Russia. This is the most deadly war which resulted in 20 to 25 million military casualties and 40 to 52 million civilian casualties, including Jews victims of Holocaust, US attack on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, in Japan with atom bombs. World War II ended in 1945 with the defeat of Axis power bloc, Germany, Japan, Italy, and United Nations organizations was formed. The world wars had a long-lasting impact on the political society and economy of the world. Now, let us start our lesson. The World Between Wars 1900 to 1950, Part 2. First, we will discuss about Russian Socialist Revolution. Before going to the discuss about Russian Revolution, we have to know about the calendar. Calendar what we have used in case of Russia was of two types. The first one is known as Julian calendar and the second one is known as Gregorian calendar. So, Julian calendar was old calendar and Gregorian calendar was new calendar. Julian calendar was discontinued after 1918, and there is a difference of about 13 days in between Julian calendar and Gregorian calendar. Gregorian calendar is 13 days ahead on Julian calendar. So, as per the Julian calendar, the first phase of Russian Revolution happened in February 1917. But as per the Gregorian calendar, it happened in March 1917. Similarly, the second phase of Russian Revolution happened in October 1917. As per the Julian calendar, it happened in November 1917. So, we have to remember the February Revolution is also known as March Revolution, and the October Revolution is also known as November Revolution as per the Gregorian calendar. So, the Gregorian calendar is new calendar that we are using all over the world now. This is about calendar. Now, we will discuss about Russian Socialist Revolution. Russia was ruled by the Tsars by 1920. What is mean by Tsars? Tsars means it is a title of honor. That means the Russian emperors used this title for their honor. Okay. So here the Russia was ruled by Tsars early 20th century. It was a vast country. Means Russia was a vast country. It's spread into two continents. That means some part in Europe and some part is in Asia. That's why it had been called Euro-Asian power. Okay. The Russia had 156 million population during this period. Nicholas II ruling this vast Russia with the help of army and also bureaucracy. Here, what is meant by bureaucracy? Bureaucracy means non-elected officials. That means government employees like IAS, IPS, deputy collectors, MROs, etc. So, the Nicholas II ruling the Russia with the help of army means soldiers and bureaucracy. The Russian people came from the agriculture, most of the people doing agriculture for their livelihood. So, in Russia, most of the people depends on agriculture during this period in Russian Empire. Therefore, often there were struggles between peasants and feudals. Peasants means farmers. Feudals means like landlords, means who owned hundreds of acres of land. Those were called feudals or landlords. That's why often these was struggle between peasants and feudals. And here the Russian Empire is not only a single country. It had a many several nations. For example, Russia, Ukraine, Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, Tajikistan, Turkmenia, etc. All these countries were under the Russian Empire, and most of Russian people came from agriculture. During this period, means 1917 to 1922, what happened? You already know very well. The World War I started. The World War began in 1914. Already Russia involved World War I. So, what happened here? During the World War, already Russia involved in the war. That's why Russian economy had been weakened. That means financially the Russian became very weak, and also a huge amount of food supply to soldiers who are in the war. Means without food, how can the soldiers fight in the war? So, the huge amount of food supplied to war front. As a result, there was a shortage food in the Russian main cities. And also, people was suffering due to this world war because they were suffering for food, and also they had not the sufficient money to buy a general goods. That's why what happened here, the Russian people became angry on Nicholas II administration. Therefore, people, especially 10,000 women, came onto the streets to express their protest. What was the major demand here? They want peace and bread and did not want military actions. They want only peace. That means peaceful atmosphere. So they came onto the roads and they expressed their protest. The workers also joined with the protesters. So when the Nicholas II heard about the protest, them immediately he wanted to suppress the protesters by forcefully. So that's why he gave an order to his army, go and suppress the protesters. Nicholas II ordered to his army, open fire on the protesters if the protesters do not listen. But the military did not care the Nicholas order. Moreover, the soldiers also joined with the protesters. That's why within 2 days the situation became very bad. Nicholas too didn't understand what to do. In this critical situation, Nicholas too had escaped. Finally, he left his power and escaped from the ruling. Thereafter, Russians took over the power and formed the provisional government, means temporary government. So, the Russians took over the power from the Nicholas II and they formed the provisional government. This is called First Russian Revolution, and also it was called March Revolution because 10,000 women came onto the streets on 8th March 1917 at St. Petersburg, which is the capital city of Russian Empire. That's why it is called March Revolution or First Russian Revolution. Okay, children? Let us see another revolution made later in October 1917. What is October 1917 revolution? Whenever Tsar was left, liberals and aristocrats ruled Russia and they set up provisional government. These liberals and aristocrats who set up the provisional government are wanted to send the soldiers again in World War I. See, we know that Russia already came back to the World War. But the provisional government wanted to send again to the soldiers into the World War. So, this was opposed by most of Russian people. Here, people means most of the women, peasants, workers and soldiers. All these were formed as councils. These councils are also called as Soviets. So, provisional government wanted to send again soldiers into World War, but the women, peasants, workers, including soldiers, doesn't want to participate in the war. That's why this group of people formed as a council. This council were also called as Soviets. Okay. This was not a sudden revolution. This was a planned revolution. October 1917 revolution led by Vladimir Lenin. Lenin was a leader of Bolsheviks party. When Lenin came to Russia, he was promised the people. What was his promises? Lenin promises, first one, Land redistribution to poor. Land redistribution to whom? Those who do not have land. Lenin says that those who do not have land, I will redistribute the land to them. And second one, nationalization of banks and industries. What is the importance to nationalization the banks? For example, if you have a bank, you getting profits and you will enjoy the profits. But whenever the bank under control of the government will get profits and enjoy. When government get profits, people also enjoy their life with profits and incomes. Government will develop with the profits and use to the country. Like government will invest in establishing schools, colleges, roads, hospitals, etc. That's why nationalization of banks and industries was done. Immediate and unconditional peace. This is third one. Lenin said that I doesn't want war. I will give immediate and unconditional peace. And people also wanted that. So these promises were attract the people. People like his promises. Then Soviets supported the Lenin and finally the Bolshevik party became RCP. RCP means Russian Communist Party. Lenin took the Russia under the control and provisional government was dissolved. After they dissolved, the Lenin became a leader. Okay. Does Lenin fulfill all his promises or not? Let's see. First promise, land given to peasants who are poor was done. This promise was done. And second one, nationalization of bank and industrials also done. And second promise also done. Next, third one. Important promise that was immediate and unconditional peace was not done. Lenin gave three promises to the people. First, land gave to poor peasants completed. Second, nationalization completed. But third one, peace was not completed. Why? Why? Because some of the countries attacking on Russia. Those countries are Britain, France, US and Japan. These countries are attacking on Russia. Why these countries are attacked on Russia? Because these countries are anti-communist countries. Russia was a communist country. Britain, France, US, Japan are anti-communist countries. So they attacked on Russia. These countries were feared about Russian revolution. They thought that like Russian people, if their people will start revolt against their government, it may be very difficult to the countries or rulers. So these countries are wanted to dissolve the Russian communist government. That's why Britain, France, US, Japan attacking the Russian government. But finally, in 1920, Lenin defeated all these countries. Lenin defeated all countries not directly. Indirectly, he defeated all the countries. Indirectly, the countries are encouraging anti towards to Lenin. The countries are sending bombs, funds to make disturbances in Russia. But Lenin controlled all these disturbances and finally his promises was done. He restored the peace in Russia. After that, Lenin was established USSR, Union of Soviet Socialist Republic. In 1922, USSR was established. Then Lenin was died in 1924. After the Lenin, Stalin came into the power. Stalin introduced two policies, that is Stalin twin policies. First one, rapid industrialization. He wanted to Russia become industrialization. And second one is collectivization. Collectivization means all the group of people they have into do agriculture in a land and they have to share equally the yield. For example, 100 acres of land is there. 100 members of the villagers have to work in the farm and share also equally distributed. So, Joseph Stalin tried to end small peasants' production by forcing all small and large farmers to surrender their lands and join collective farms. These farms pooled in all the land in the village along with tools and machines and animals. Farmers worked together and the produce was divided among the members of the farms. It will be very useful to small scale farmers, but this idea was to shift from small holding farming to large scale farming so that new techniques and machines could be used. But thousands of peasants, especially the large farmers, opposed it. This type of cultivation, they thought that they led to loss their 100 acres of land. That's why they don't want to join in this farming. So they refused to join the collective farming. Then the Stalin government punished the peasants, those who opposed to join the collective farming. He punished them by imprisonment, deportation, and even death also. This has caused a severe famine in Russia in 1929 to 30. Because of this famine means extreme scarcity of food, a very large number of people were died. The agriculture production was very low in an initial period, means starting days. Then it was increased day by day and made huge profits to the government and helped to build USSR industrialization very fastly. All industries were owned by the state. That means all industries came under the control of the government. The government has not allowed the free market and sold the industrial products to the consumer directly. There was no mediators, private businessmen. Only the government had took the power and controlled the total industries. Because of this rapid result, the workers faced so many problems due to bad working conditions. In the city of Magnitogorsk, the construction of a steel plant was achieved in just 3 years. Workers living in a hard conditions. Imagine 550 times stoppages of work in the first year alone. This shows that how bad conditions in that time. Because of busy working times, the workers doing the work continuously. Living quarters are provided to workers, it's just like apartments. In the winter time, at 40 degree below, people had to climb down from the fourth floor and dash across the street in order to go to the toilet. What did USSR achieved? The government provided the facilities like extended schooling system, universities for the workers and their children, and creches were established in factories for the children of working women. Cheap public health care was provided. Model living quarters were set up for workers. The effect of all this was uneven, though, since government resources were limited. USSR achieved full employment for all its citizens. When the citizens in a country having full employment, automatically they can improve their standard of living substantially. Yes, the government also managed to universalize literacy and primary education. Preciously, during this period, the Western world began to face the Great Depression, in which factories closed down and millions of workers lost their jobs. Thousands of peasants found the prices of their goods crashing down as demand for them collapsed due to the shutting down of factories. But USSR escaped from this Great Depression because of its planned economy and prided itself in escaping the impact of the Great Depression. It was not integrated with the international market. Secondly, it had a planned economy in which the state decided that what has to be produced and how much. This enabled them to maintain a balance between demand and supply. All this was done because of the Communist Party and its leaders' centralization of the all powers in their hands. Policies of Communist Party. Denial of ordinary democratic liberties to the citizens. Doing away with any opposition through the use of force, including large scale execution of opposition leaders. The communists think that it was necessary to build socialism and defeat the capitalist powers which were constantly trying to undermine the USSR. Communism committed to the ideals of equality and national liberation. This inspired people all over the world. They became communists and tried for a communist revolution in their countries. Let's see some of the views about the Russia during that time. The October Revolution and the Russian countryside. Here, two views are there. First one, the history of a Soviet collective form from Fedor Belov. News of the revolutionary uprising of October 25th, 1917 reached the village the following day and was greeted with enthusiasm to the peasants. It meant free land and an end to the war. The day the news arrived, the landowner's manor house was looted, his stock farms were requisitioned, and his vast orchard was cut down and sold to the peasants for wood. All his fur buildings were torn down and left in ruins, while the land was distributed among the peasants who were prepared to live the new Soviet life. And second one, a member of a landowning family wrote to a relative about what happened at their estate. The coup happened quite painlessly, quietly, and peacefully. The first days were unbearable. Mikhail Mikhailovich, who are the owner of the estate, was calm. The girls also calm. I must say, the chairman behaves correctly and even politely. We were left two cows and two horses. The servants tell them all the time not to bother us. Let them live. We watch for their safety and property. We want them treated as humanly as possible. There are rumors that several villages are trying to evict the committees and return the estate to Mikhail Mikhailovich. I don't know if this will happen or if that's good for us. But we rejoice that there is a coincidence in our people. Next, Central Asia of the October Revolution views. M.N. Roy played an important role in Comintern, an international organization set to promote communist revolution in the world. He was in Central Asia at the time of the Civil War in the 1920s. He wrote, "The chieftain was a benevolent old man. His attendant, a youth who spoke Russian, he had heard of the revolution, which had overthrown the Tsar and driven away the general who conquered the homeland of the Kyrgyz. So, the revolution meant that the Kyrgyz were masters of their home again. Long live the revolution, shouted the Kyrgyz youth, who seemed to be a born Bolshevik. The whole tribe joined. Next, another review. An Indian arrives in Soviet Russia in 1920. For the first time in our lives, we were seeing Europeans mixing freely with Asians. On seeing the Russians mingling freely with the rest of the people of the country, we were convinced that we had come to a land of real equality. We saw freedom in its true light. In spite of their poverty, imposed by the counter revolutionaries and the imperialists, the people were more jovial and satisfied than ever before. The revolution had instilled confidence and fearlessness in them. The real brotherhood of mankind would be seen here among these people of 50 different nationalities. So, barriers of caste or religion hindered them from mixing freely with one another. Every soul was transformed into an orator. One could see a worker, a peasant, or a soldier haranguing like a professional lecture. These are the views about Russian and Russian Revolution. The Indians who were inspired by the ideas of USSR. M.N. Roy inspired the Lenin ideas and he set up Communist Party in 1920 in India. Tagore. Tagore wrote from Russia in 1930. Moscow appears much less clean than the other European capitals. None of those hurrying along the streets look smart. The whole place belongs to the workers. Here, the masses have not in the least been put in the shade by the gentleman. Those who lived in the background for ages have come forward in the open today. I thought of the peasants and workers in my own country. It all seemed like the work of the Jinai in the Arabian Nights. Only a decade ago, they were as illiterate, helpless, and hungry as our own masses, who could be more astonished than an unfortunate Indian like myself to see how they had removed the mountain of ignorance and helplessness in these few years. And Nehru also inspired the ideas of USSR. They were inspired by communism, but they didn't agree with many aspects of communism. For example, suppression of opposition political parties. Many others were also horrified by violent elimination of opposition, denial of multi party democracy, denial of freedom in the USSR. George Orwell wrote his famous satire Animal Farm to highlight how the ideas of Russian Revolution were compromised in USSR. What is the impact of Russian Revolution? Russian tried to build a society without capitalism, without kings and without landlords. So, you observe that there was no industrialist, there was no kings, there was no exploiters. They are building the Russia all on equality basis. There was no gender, no language, no sex discrimination under the communist Russia. Even though some positives and some negatives are there about Russian Revolution. So, children, this is about Russian Revolution. Hope you understood. Next, we will discuss about the Great Depression. Great Depression. It was completely destroyed the many countries' economy. The Great Depression began in 1929 and ended in 1939. What are the reasons of this Great Depression? So many reasons are there, but major reasons are decline in demand. When demand was declined, what happened here? Fall of prices. Decline in demand at fall of prices. If the prices will fall down, the factories will be closed. If factories will close, unemployment will start. Unemployment causes poverty. So, these are the cyclical effects. And one more important thing was stock market collapse. US stock market is called as Wall Street collapsed. So, all these are the reasons for Great Depression. Let us see what happened in Great Depression. What was the conditions during the Great Depression? First one, 25% USA persons were lost their jobs, means unemployed. And nearly 33% of the world they lost their employment. 60% of agriculture products prices were decreased. There was no money, so prices of products was decreased. So many members were unemployed. There was no money to purchase the minimum goods. So people did not have the sufficient food to eat. Some economists says that the reasons about the Great Depression. Marxists argued that here Marxist means those who are believe Karl Marx, they are called as Marxist economists. Marxist economist says that this was happened because of capitalism. So what they said that remove capitalism and adopt socialism. Okay, next, J.M. Keynes suggested that in this situation, state should invest money and generate employment. And F.D. Roosevelt, who became the president of US, introduced a policy, the 3 R's. First R, relief, second R belongs to reform, and third R, recover. Relief from the depression, reform from the depression, recover from the depression. These 3 R's policy are called as the New Deal policy. He was introduced social security schemes in USA. He wanted to save the Americans from the situation of depression. If again the depression happens, it will be very difficult to them. Hence, he adopted the social security schemes. Let us see the social security schemes of USA. First, Universal Retirement Pension Scheme. Before, there was no pension given to the retired employees. But they thought that after retirement, how can they lead life without money? So, the implementation of retirement pension was very important to the employees. Means retired employees. Next, unemployment insurance. Those who do not have jobs, the government gave money to them. Next, welfare benefits for the children without fathers and handicaps. These are all called social security schemes. If the depression happened again, these people will not be affected. For example, during Corona lockdown time, our government given to the money and a ration to the people. If they do not work, how can the people get the money and how can they lead their life? So, the government saved the people by distribution of money and ration. Minimum needs. Okay, same way US government adapted the social security scheme for the people to save them from depression. Let us talking about Britain. Britain also adopted this type of social security scheme. Britain implemented first, unemployment insurance, old age pensions. AP government also given old age pensions. Unemployment doles means those unemployed, they are providing something for them and they providing employment for them. Next, sickness insurance and health schemes. Health schemes means they're providing some health schemes like Arogyasri, like that. Next, child care. They gave the most important care on child care, like our government also providing some child care schemes. Next, basic minimum needs. The government providing basic minimum needs. What are the basic needs? Food, cloth, shelter, education, etc. Britain introduced the schemes even before the Great Depression. After depression, it implemented the schemes more effectively. So, all these schemes or welfare schemes were adopted by Britain. Okay. Next, Russia. Russia during the Great Depression. Many countries are in the world suffering from the depression, but Russia did not suffer from depression. As we know, because Russia economy was not interlinked with other countries, and the Russians are followed cultivation. All members are doing agriculture or farming together and share the product equally. So, Russian economy was not affected by the Great Depression. Okay. Now, let us discuss about Germany during the Great Depression. According to the Treaty Versailles, the Germany had to pay war damages, means Germany paying money for war damages. so that the Germany government began to print currency notes on a large scale. When we print more currency, what happened? If there is excess of currency, it will lead to inflation. Inflation means rise of the prices of goods and decreases the value. Means the money value will be decreases. Here, Germany faced inflation. It is said that people had to carry currency in carts to buy one loaf of bread. And 6 million Germans were lost their jobs. The young people wear the placards on their neck wrote on willing to do any work. So many people have no work. They wanted to eat something for survive. In this situation, some of the people did criminal activities like robber, theft, like that. So, some them playing cards like the worst situation are there in Germany. 40% of industrial production was lost. People feared about the salaries. There was no salaries and closed the factories. No pensions. So the pensioners were suffered. Totally, people were suffering from pauperization, means lack of food. There was no minimum food for survive. People doesn't understand what was going on there, what will happen next days, and they excited to know who helped in this situation. They're looking for a great leader because they lost in the world war. They're paying for that and they lost their jobs and they don't have minimum food to survive. The German government was very weak and they facing very bad conditions. In this stage, USA helped to Germany by giving loans and rescheduling the payment of war damages. This helped Germany economy to stabilize by 1928. However, this was short-lived as USA itself was deeply affected by the onset of the depression in 1929 and could no longer help Germany. Again, Germany got troubles by the Great Depression. In this situation, the leader came. He was none other than only the Hitler. During this period, Hitler came to the power and how he tried to come out Germany from this situation. These are all we will discuss in the next class. Okay, children? With that, I end today's class here. Hope you understood, right? Thank you.